Now, here are the men who will be running in the 10,000 meters. Craig Virgin of the USA, the American record holder, set the new record in the AAU competition at Walnut, California. Werner Schildhauer of East Germany. Edward Vincent of the Asian team from India. Peter Butler of the Americas team from Canada. John Tracy of Europe from Ireland. Miruts Yifter, the African team member from Ethiopia. Alexander Antipov from the Soviet Union. And Gerard Barriott of Oceania and Australia. Marty LaQuarrie.
Well, it's a good field, and Virgin has proved over the last 3 months that he's now a world-class athlete, but he's saddled with the problem that's hit many distance runners before him, and that his leg speed is not up to the standards of someone like Yifter, who can run a last lap in a 5 or 10,000 meters in 53 seconds. Craig right now is able to do about 58 seconds. He ran 61 seconds in his American record about 2 months ago. So it's the oldest story in the book. 2 years, which is not something that's been done very often. However, cross country is a sport which is involving running up hills. In the last championship in Ireland, it was involving a lot of running in the mud. So he's a very strong man, but like Craig Virgin, he's not really as fast as some of the other runners on the kick. So he's going to probably help Virgin out a little bit and try and force the pace. It's a very discouraging thing to the other 7 runners in the race to know that if Yifter is on their shoulder...
The United States women by a point and the Soviet women by 2.
Well, Craig Virgin said he wouldn't want the pace to go slower than 67, and he just tried to pick it up. He just led through about a 65-second lap, and now he's trying desperately to give up the lead. He's moved out to the second lane and is slowing down, forcing Tracy to go in the lead. Tracy's not going to have anything of it. As you can see by Yifter's stride, they're just about jogging.
Alexander Antipov is holding to the number 4 spot. Nobody has really dropped off the pace as yet. Even Barriott of Oceania, who at one time had moved up into the number 3 position, now dropping back to the last position, but he too appears to be running rather easily at a very moderate pace. So apparently the strategy that Craig Virgin had is not applicable unless he himself applies it. Now apparently it's up to him to make the move.
17 tours de piste à terre, 17 laps to go, 10 000 mètres.
We'll keep our eye on the 10,000 meter run with 16 laps to go, and Craig Virgin leading the United States. Right now, let's consider the discus. It's upcoming, and one of the featured performers will be Mac Wilkins of the United States. So let's meet Mac up close and personal. When last up in the pack, Gerard Barriott of Oceania and Australia has lost contact. Craig Virgin continues to lead. Miruts Yifter right on his shoulder. Alexander Antipov of the Soviet Union is running 3rd. Werner Schildhauer has moved up to the number 4 spot. And right now, Peter Butler of Canada and the Americas team has passed John Tracy to move into number 5.
Well, Virgin is starting to take some control of the race now. He's run about 3 laps that have stretched out the field, and it's just he and Yifter now, with Antipov, who was also one of the favorites, about 20 yards off. They're almost to the halfway point. They've got about another 100 yards to go, and right now it looks like Craig is going to be running about 12 seconds or so off of his American record pace. And really, in a big competition like this, or any competition that a person's pointing for, you can't expect them to do much more than equal their best time. So we have to think that if he's running close to his record pace, then he's going to be in there towards the end of the race.
There's now groups of 2s and then a couple of 1s with Craig Virgin and Yifter 1-2. That's the United States and Africa, Ethiopia. Then you have Antipov of the Soviet Union, Schildhauer of East Germany. You have Peter Butler of Canada and John Tracy of Oceania. John Tracy is European team. Oceania, Gerard Barriott from Australia, and trailing the field from the very beginning has been Edward Vincent from India running for the Asian team. But it's 2, 2, 2, 1 and 1.
I don't think it'll end up a 2-man race, though, Keith. They're strung out now, but Virgin seems to be applying pressure and then cutting back on it a little bit. And I think that the Russian Antipov and Peter George can get back in the race. They both have some fairly decent finishing kicks also. Peter Jorg was just second to Yifter in the last World Cup.
Right now, it's Virgin, Yifter, 1-2 in the men's 10,000, and we'll be right back. A little move as we come back to the 10,000 meters. Virgin literally broke his stride and forced Yifter to go past him. So now all of a sudden Craig's got somebody to look at as he forced Yifter to take the lead.
Well, that's like a man getting ready to commit suicide. It's like a man getting ready to commit suicide and then deciding, here, you hold the gun and shoot me. Yifter is not going to take the pace, Craig. He's just going to slow it down, and you're going to have to take it back, and I would guess that Virgin will do it within side of a lap. The only thing he can possibly do is maybe confuse Yifter. He's looking around. I've never really seen anybody do that in a meet of this caliber. Craig was trying to spurt for 150 yards or so. He'd open up a 5-yard lead, and then Yifter would be right back on him.
Like sitting with a short fuse. Right now, let's join Jim Lampley as he talks with Edwin Moses.
Thanks,
to do it. And Craig Virgin is still literally forcing Miruts Yifter to hold the lead in the men's 10,000.
Well, certainly the pace isn't going to be fast with Yifter leading, but Craig said earlier that with 8,000 meters gone in the race, meaning about a mile and a quarter left, that he would start a long drive. They still have about a mile and 3/4 to go, so he's going to have to try the one tactic left to him, and that is a long, drawn-out sprint.
Well, that may be it right there, and it's come early if that in fact is it. But each time he tries to put on a spurt, Yifter just sort of shifts gear and just cruises right in behind it.
Well, you know, Virgin is just, he's hanging in there. Physically, it's not as demanding to run these spurts and everything, but psychologically, one of these spurts, Yifter just might not go with him. Craig might see 10 or 20 yards behind him and just keep on going. But I'm not going to bet on it.
That, however, seems a very unlikely thing to me, knowing this fellow's history, because he is remarkable. We know that he's 32 years of age. We suspect he might be a little older than that. 10,000 meter goes on. We'll be back. Laps to go as they run through the first turn, and there's no appreciable change except Virgin and Yifter are pulling away from Antipov and Peter Butler of the Americas team. And now into the lead. It is just a man asking for somebody to help him toward suicide, and he has not been able to do anything with Yifter. Yifter has been right flat in his shadow. As they come now to the finish line, there will be 4 laps to go in the men's 10,000 meter run, and Yifter is right in the shadow of Craig Virgin. Earlier in talking strategy with Craig Virgin, Jim Lampley asked him what he planned to do with 4 laps to go if he's still in contention. This is how he answered.
Well, I think there'll probably be about a group of about 3 of us together there, and I think that hopefully the pace will have been quick, but if it's not quick, I better be out front leading, and I better be pushing as hard as I can, and it better be no slower than 66s. And I better be starting to put the pressure on people with 4 laps to go. And with 2 laps to go, I better start a longer kick, because I think some of these guys have definitely faster leg speed in the last straightaway than I do. I'm going to have to know myself and be able to judge just how much I have left to be able to turn it on against guys like John Tracy and Myra Yifter. And I hope that at that point, a lot of them will be tired also, and it'll be more of a strength race at that point than sheer speed.
If you're looking over your shoulder for one man, is it Yifter of Ethiopia?
I'm more worried about him the last lap than anyone else. Now, Antipov and Tracy both have strong last laps, but they're more within my range than what Yifter is. Yifter can turn a 53 or 54-second last lap. He's done it before, and he can do it again. I think off of a strong, fast pace throughout the whole race, he isn't quite as fast at the end, and that's the only hope that I have, you know, of winning this race, is to have that kind of a race.
Well, those were the thoughts of Craig Virgin before the race started. And right now, the only thing wrong with this strategy is that he has not been able to shake Yifter. And Edward Vincent is going to be lapped by the 2 leaders. They're moving up on him right now as they have 3 laps to go. And now he is running in the number 3 position with Peter Butler of the Americas and Canada out of Edmonton running in the number 4 spot, and Gerard Barrett of Oceania and Australia running in the number 5 position. Now, here we come to 2 laps to go, and let's see if Craig Virgin spins it right here.
Well, with 4 laps to go, Craig ran a 67, which is about the same as the pace has been all through the race. A little bit faster, but certainly not starting any type of a drive. He's probably going to go with 2 laps left, which shouldn't be enough to drop Yifter. He's running well this year. Craig has the second fastest time in the world this year, the fastest time of anyone in this race. But when you get into a competitive situation, and as this was, where there were only 8 men in the race, no pace setters, no rabbits, as there are in many world record races, someone to share the pace. It's just man against man. It's been very tough for Craig.
Yeah, Craig Virgin, within the week, ran a tough road race up at Falmouth, Mass. Did that take something out of him?
Well, the pounding of the roads, he ran a 7-mile road race, a very good time, would certainly take something out of his legs. However, the pace in this race has not been up to his total physical capabilities. He hasn't pushed the pace, so that hasn't been a factor, I think. This has come down to a tactical thing, and
now it's up to 1 lap to go, and Win Yifter wants to make his move if in fact he can make a move. They're coming up on Tracy now, and Schildauer. Tracy moves outside to give the leadership to lead. Schildauer should do the same thing to give the 2 front runners the room to work at it. Here goes Yifter, just flew right by it.
I would say in this last 300 yards, Yifter is probably going to open up 50 yards on Virgin. He has that type of a kick.
Incredible. We know he's 32. Every time we've seen him run, he has pulled this kind of thing. He has just simply blown Craig Virgin away. Virgin was not able to shake him at any time, not able to disturb the poise of the Ethiopian, and now he's running as if the devil is after him, furiously pounding to the finish line all alone. Wins big, the 10,000 meters.
Unofficial winner, Miruts Yifter,
Virgin is second. Antipak will come on sometime later to finish third. He ran a 54.2 last lap.
Well, that's fast. That's equal to many of his races. And Yifter, we're looking at the type of an athlete who's going to stand a chance in winning in an Olympic Games, because unless you can come up with a